It didn't matter what time of day you saw Randy in those days, he was always full-blown Macho Man mode. You saw him at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah. That's 6 o'clock. 12 o'clock at night. Oh, yeah. He was Macho Man 24 hours a day, and that's what he morphed into.
So, guys, I'm at the famous Waffle House at 318 Harding Place in Nashville, Tennessee. In the 1970s, what happened was that Macho Man Randy Savage was here, and he would, like, frequent this restaurant. So what happened one night was that, you know, he was working a show, and, you know, he was really, really hungry, and he was going to order one of his favorites, which is steak and eggs. And what happened was that somebody came in who was a cook from a different shift. And what happened was that this guy was a little, like, you know, like, talking a little too much, and Macho Man got mad with him, and they both engaged in a fight, and it got Macho Man arrested, really. But, you know, the customer service I'm receiving today is good, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anybody's going to disrupt me for my food. So I'm going to tell you guys how the food is, and I'm also going to include some audio from Dutch Mantell and Jim Cornette to tell you a little bit more about the story.
But in the Waffle House story, it was late at kind of about 12 o'clock at night. We'd had the match. This was on a Wednesday night. We had the local matches in Nashville on Wednesday, and I had wrestled him that night, and he had went out with Rip Rogers to a local Waffle House, I think on Harding Place in Nashville, and they live close to there. And he went in, and Savage was wanting to get something to eat, and he was always, you know, kind of intense anyway. And he was trying to order, and a guy came through the door, and he worked there on first shift. He was a cook on first shift, I found out later. And he said, "Hey, everybody, I'm getting married." And they just stopped everything, and everybody said, "Congratulations," and they were laughing and applauding. Well, that stopped Randy from giving his order, and he was hungry, and he's irritable anyway. And so when it kind of died down, you know, "When you going to get married? I'm going to get married here." And finally, Randy couldn't leave it alone, and he says, and it kind of got quiet in there, and it was only Randy and Rip and the cook. There's the only ones in the Waffle House. And Randy says, "Who gives a fuck?" Oh, my God. Well, that's a direct challenge to the guy. And the guy was embarrassed, and now he's got to make a stand for his woman, so he says, "Well, you better give a fuck."
That was a witty riposte.
Yeah, you better give a fuck. Like, well, why would he even give a shit anyway? And Savage says, "Well, I don't." He says, "Well, you, by God."
So here's my spread. I have bacon, and then I have eggs, and it came with toast. And then I also have my T-bone steak. I'm waiting at my waffle, but they're very, very busy right now. But definitely this is a really good spread. And as I said, that the steak and eggs is what Macho Man Randy Savage really enjoyed. So it's cool to have the meal that he wanted to have. And then when you look at this steak and you look at this bacon and you look at this eggs, definitely, you know, it's a bunch of greasy goodness. So I'm going to tell you guys how this all is. I just got my bill. One thing about Waffle House is that, you know, the food's not that expensive. Everything I got here was around $25, you know, so with the tip, you know, $31, $32, you know, not that bad of a price. The bacon is decent. It's a little salty, but I do like the amount of grease, and it has a nice crisp to it. I really enjoy the steak. I actually have to say this is one of the best steaks that I ever had. Very wet. It's not really, really dry, because I know when my dad made steak, it would be super dry. It's not too little, it's not too much. You do feel it's worth your money's worth. And they put a lot of pepper on this, so even though like pepper is like, you know, cheap, you know, I do appreciate them trying to put some seasoning. And it looks like that there's some like maybe some hot pepper on this, because there's a bit of spice to this, and I appreciate that. So guys, I do want to say that the food here was excellent, and I really, really enjoyed the Waffle House here. You know, really great customer service, really speedy customer service. And even though like Waffle House is just like, you know, a Denny's or a McDonald's or another place like that where the idea is to send it out quickly, you know, quality over quantity, definitely there's quality here. So I definitely recommend this, and definitely this is a great part of Nashville history. A really great breakfast, you know, after just not really eating anything the past 24 hours because I've been like a little stressed out with the airlines and the delays and everything like that. This was definitely a great start to my trip.